To be honest, from everything we've seen, I think with him losing, he's not going to fight for the title anymore. It's another fight, and I'm looking at it with myself in mind first. I'm going in there to win. I'm going in there to win the belt, and it doesn't really matter. I'm fighting for myself in there, and I want to do the best for myself.
Ankalaev just did a fantastic job of shutting down the scariest guy in the division. It was so interesting because the consequences of exchanging with Pereira are so high, but also Ankalaev. Ankalaev has knocked a lot of people out. Ankalaev has knocked out some of the best guys in the division.
Tem que ser mais agressivo só, você entendeu? Tem que entrar no afundão, Bruno. Tipo aquele. Não, igual o Rafael ali, ó. É mais difícil pra ele, vai. Tá.
Go. Go. We go. Nice, good. Bora. Levanta. Vai lá.
Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev are all set to fight for the UFC light heavyweight title in their rematch at UFC 320. However, Alex Pereira has made a shocking claim that he won't give Ankalaev a rematch if he wins the belt. Alex Pereira reveals that securing the rematch wasn't difficult. He explains that right after the fight, he already knew it would happen. It was just a matter of recovering from injuries. Pereira says the champion had little control over the timeline as the UFC went with what suited him best. Although his opponent wanted earlier dates, the rematch ended up happening on Pereira's terms.
Impus algo e, eu consegui o que eu quis.
No, it wasn't complicated to get the rematch. As soon as I got out of that fight, I knew I was going to have the immediate rematch. It was just a matter of letting my body heal. I had a lot of injuries, a lot of things. But him as the champion, it just goes to show that he's got no say in anything. In the end, whatever I spoke to the UFC about and whatever was convenient for me is what's ended up happening. He wanted to fight in July. He wanted to fight all these times and didn't happen. So it came out to be, just as I needed it, just as I wanted it.
Alex Pereira also claims that he doesn't expect a trilogy fight to happen. While he admits the decision is ultimately up to the UFC and is willing to face anyone, he believes his opponent's recent loss likely takes him out of title contention.
And if you go out there, you beat him, are we looking at a trilogy here, or do you think it not necessarily works that way, given your credentials in the sport compared to his?
Yeah, I think the story will be over. It's obviously out of my control. It's up to the UFC, and if they want to do it again, I'll fight anyone. But, to be honest, from everything we've seen, I think with him losing, he's not going to fight for the title anymore.
Magomed Ankalaev fired back with a sharp response, saying Pereira was right about not having any say in the matter, because he would be knocked out and sent back to working at a tire shop. He mocked Pereira's past, suggesting that after their fight, he'd no longer be holding a belt but instead returning to ordinary work. Magomed Ankalaev said, "You're right, I'm not gonna have any say because you're gonna be sleeping and on your way working at the tire shop again." Meanwhile, Alex Pereira reacts to Magomed Ankalaev's trash talk by saying it doesn't bother him. He points out that Ankalaev isn't recognized as a true champion and only mentions his name to get attention. Pereira explains that this is why he never responds or shares those comments. He doesn't want to give Ankalaev a platform.
Yeah, and he's been saying a lot on social media. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to it, and kind of taking his shots at you. Pretty much since you guys were booked the first time, right? Recently said something about you drilling with taxi drivers for your takedown defense. Do you even pay attention to social media, being the star that you are? Does it motivate you at all, or do you feel like you kind of see what he's trying to do here?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't make a difference. The fact is that nobody knows that he's a champion, and he always has to bring up my name to get some kind of coverage. But that's why I don't reply, I don't retweet, I don't do anything, because I'm not going to give him that platform.
Alex Pereira explained that he has always trained a lot of wrestling, not just for his camp. He said that since the beginning, training with Glover Teixeira built a style and added grappling to his striking game. He mentioned that he has been working together on wrestling for almost 4 years at the gym, always mixing it into training alongside striking. Pereira stressed that people may only see what he shows in fights, but behind the scenes, he constantly trains wrestling and grappling to be complete in the UFC.
Are you upping the wrestling training? Are you doing more wrestling training in this training camp?
If he's training the same as always training, a lot of wrestling in our training. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. That's what built him to be who he is in the UFC. It was Glover's style of wrestling, the way that he trained. Even guys go, oh, he keep his hands down, look at his head. Okay, but go and try to hit his head on the fight, see if it's hard, see if you can. You know what I mean? So he just showed things that he wants to show. He's always focused on the wrestling for the MMA training, not only the striking. It's been almost 4 years that he's around here now training wrestling like that, you know what I mean? But that's since day one. He was already an outstanding striker. So Glover helped to put all that grappling together, to put the takedown defense, to put everything, right? So he's constantly trying to evolve.
Alex Pereira says he's fully motivated to take the belt back from Magomed Ankalaev. He admits their first fight was controversial, with opinions split on who deserved the win, and feels a draw would have been the fair outcome that left him champion. Pereira insists the version of himself that night wasn't the real one and promises to deliver a much stronger performance in the rematch. He adds that he doesn't need a knockout this time, confident his full skill set can handle Ankalaev in every area.
Back to Magomed. When you see the footage of him going home with the belt that was yours, and all the hoopla and stuff, how does that make you feel?
People say that he won, people say that he lost, people say that I win, like very contested, right? Why didn't give it a draw and I left with the belt?
So you are very motivated to get the belt back.
Absolutely. I can't wait for this moment to happen again. It's going to be a very different fight. That day was not the same Alex Pereira. So if come the regular Alex Pereira, it's already more than that. But imagine now if it's different. It doesn't have to be a knockout, but I feel that I have enough game to do whatever I want with this guy.
Magomed Ankalaev warns that his second fight with Alex Pereira will be smoother than the first. He notes that history shows rematches often favor the winner, and he expects Pereira to experience that reality. Ankalaev says he's confident wherever the fight goes, whether standing or on the ground, and makes it clear he'll use any approach necessary to dominate without exposing weaknesses.
Ну, я думаю, реванш пойдет намного легче, чем первый бой, так как статистика говорит всегда, реванши со мной выходить это очень опасно. Я думаю, мы подтвердим то же самое, что со мной не стоит выходить на реванш.
Может быть, в этот раз вообще не стоит пытаться перевести Алекса, потому что ты, в принципе, перебивал его стойки.
Все может быть. Я буду делать все, чтобы доминировать. Если бороться, надо будет бороться, биться, стойки. Я думаю, у нас не будет проблем нигде.
Magomed Ankalaev says he wants Alex Pereira at his absolute best for their rematch, so there can be no excuses afterward. He recalls that some people claimed Pereira wasn't fully ready the first time, and he doesn't want to hear that again. Ankalaev points to training footage of Pereira being taken down and standing back up, noting he's clearly preparing for wrestling. He adds that he may switch things up and avoid takedowns, but insists it won't matter. His focus is on beating the best version of Pereira and leaving no doubt about the result.
Ты видел отрывки тренировок Алекса Перейра, где его там борют, он встает постоянно, то есть очевидно он готовится к тому, что будет вставать постоянно.
Да, вполне возможно, что я не буду его переводить. Может, он это делает зря. Ну, пускай делает, готовится. Я, наоборот, хочу, чтобы он подходил к этому бою на 100% готов, чтобы у него не оставались вопросы по поводу поединка, чтобы не было таких разговоров, как в прошлом бою, что не был готов или что-то было не сделано. Я хочу, чтобы он подошел в хорошей форме и после нашего поединка, чтобы у него не было оправданий.
Furthermore, Alex Pereira also spoke about the idea of moving to heavyweight, noting that he already walks around at 230 to 235 pounds while competing at light heavyweight. He said there was never a set plan to jump divisions, but his intense training, muscle growth, and increasing size have naturally led him toward it. Pereira added that he pays close attention to how his body feels, and if cutting down becomes too tough, he will step up to heavyweight.
You were on a scale, and I think it said something like 240. You obviously fight in the light heavyweight division. How much do you weigh now?
Around 230, 235. That's the what he usually do. Even for middleweight, he got to weigh 230 at one point.
Wow. Was there any consideration before you took this fight about fighting at heavyweight?
No, absolutely none. Just took some break, training hard, training heavy, you gain some muscle, gain some size, but all folks for this. For middleweight, people ask like going light heavyweight. He used to say like, I'm gonna listen to my body when it's becoming harder. So the same way goes here. Eventually, if it gets harder for me to go light heavyweight, I'm gonna go heavyweight.
Joe Rogan gave his take on the matchup and applauded Magomed Ankalaev for neutralizing Alex Pereira. He described it as an outstanding showing against one of the division's most dangerous strikers. Rogan noted that while Pereira's knockout power often dominates the spotlight, Ankalaev has put away some of the top names in weight class. He emphasized Ankalaev's complete skill set and praised his smooth movement, comparing his footwork to that of a lighter fighter.
We were talking about how exciting the Ankalaev and Pereira fight was, even though people didn't like it because it wasn't like some crazy result and a giant knockout like you get in most Pereira fights, but it was so technical. And Ankalaev just did a fantastic job of shutting down the scariest guy in the division. It was so interesting because the consequences of exchanging with Pereira are so high, but also Ankalaev. Ankalaev's knocked a lot of people out. We always look at Pereira's knockouts, but Ankalaev has knocked out some of the best guys in the division.
Chael Sonnen also discusses the implications of Alex Pereira winning the rematch, emphasizing the importance of setting the rivalry once and for all. He wonders if fans would stay interested in repeated matchups, pointing out that the result needs to be respected. Sonnen explains that a win would confirm Pereira has overcome the toughest challenge in the division, while a loss would give clarity to his career path. In either case, Sonnen believes Pereira could then transition to heavyweight, moving closer to his ultimate ambition.
Will you come out and support and watch and be into the fight 2 more times? Because if Pereira wins, that's the only honorable thing to do. Right? You gotta settle the score. Pereira knows this better than anybody. So, what do you do in that case? I mean, if Pereira wins, and we got to go back to Unk. If Pereira wins and we're not going to go with Unk, anybody in that top stratosphere, Pereira's already beat. And with a loss, the answer for Pereira will be very clear. And it will be what he's wanted all along. He now joins the heavyweight division.
Heavyweight contender Curtis Blade sides with Alex Pereira, praising his resilience in bouncing back from injury and dealing with an illness similar to one Blades himself experienced. He emphasizes that if Pereira enters the fight healthy, he fully expects him to come out on top.
I'm gonna go with Pereira because of the injury, and also I heard he had this same illness that I had, and I know how that feels. So yeah, as long as he's healthy, I go with Pereira.
Similarly, Andrew Tate expresses confidence that Alex Pereira will return stronger, recalling how they were once set to fight back in the Showtime days before Pereira faced someone else. He praises Pereira's experience and mental toughness, noting his ability to grow from both victories and setbacks. Tate adds that Pereira is highly respected by fans and believes he will come back even better.
Last thing, I saw you and your brother in Vegas over the weekend. Do you have any words for Pereira? He took a loss, like any maybe words of encouragement?
Pereira's an OG. Pereira fought Sahak Papayan, and I was supposed to fight Pereira a long time ago, but he ended up fighting Sahak instead back in the It's Showtime days. So him and I have been fighting way back when. So he's been around. He knows the game. Yeah. He understands you win some, you lose some. You either use it to come back stronger and better and learn something, or you use it to destroy you. It's like everything in life, right? So I think he already knows exactly what to do. The world loves him. He knows that.
You think he'll win the rematch?
I think he'll be back. Yeah, the world loves him. He's a loved guy. He'll be back.
Meanwhile, Arman Sarukian says he wasn't surprised by Alex Pereira's loss to Magomed Ankalaev and predicts a similar outcome in the rematch. He points to Ankalaev's striking, especially his left hook and kicks, as major weapons. Sarukian recalls how Pereira struggled with leg kicks early on, which forced him to adjust his stance and strategy. While he admits some rounds were close, he believes Ankalaev would still hold the overall advantage.
What do you think of the main event, Magomed Ankalaev beating Alex Pereira?
I know that Ankalaev gonna beat him if it's not lucky punch. We know like Pereira, he's so dangerous. He has a good left hook and kicks, leg kicks. But first round he started with leg kicks, and I was scared like again they're gonna like kill his legs, and then he gotta change his stand. But then he could change his game. He started to go forward, and He won last, I think, 4 rounds.
So you scored it for Magomed.
3-2. 5 was like even 50-50, you know. You never know.
Carlos Prates predicts Alex Pereira will win the rematch, saying Pereira has studied his mistakes and will come in ready. He expects Pereira to be fully prepared and believes a knockout finish is likely.
I think Pereira gonna win. You know, he got a break on his career. You know, he saw all his mistakes, you know, and fix everything. And now I think he gonna step on the cage and gonna knock Ankalaev out.
However, Zhang Mingyang expects Magomed Ankalaev to retain his title in the UFC 320 rematch with Alex Pereira. He feels Pereira lacks the same motivation he once had, which could affect the outcome. While he acknowledges Pereira's striking ability at his best, Zhang leans toward Ankalaev after seeing Pereira's latest performance.
We mentioned the title fight. Magomed Ankalaev is the champion. He's running it back with Alex Pereira at UFC 320 on October 4th. I'm curious, who do you think wins that fight? What's your prediction for the title fight?
Yeah, I think still Ankalaev can defend his title because I think Pereira is not as motivated as before. So, I mean, if we can get the old Pereira back, he is still the better striker than Ankalaev. But for now, if he still fought like the way like he fought last fight, I think Ankalaev can still win this fight.
Zhang Mingyang believes Alex Pereira no longer has the same drive going into his UFC 320 rematch with Magomed Ankalaev. He explains that Pereira's wealth has eased the hunger he had earlier in his career and sees this lack of motivation as an edge for Ankalaev.
Why do you think there's a lack of motivation there, in your opinion?
Because he has earned too much money. He's too rich. I think it's no matter who you are, as a fighter or as a human being, if you are too rich, you are just like a kind of lack of motivation. As when you are young, when you are poor, when you are hungry. I think that's normal. It's not uncommon.
That wraps up today's video, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about this matchup in the comment section and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about upcoming UFC encounters.